Hey yo, peace. I come in the righteous name of Emir X. Today's mathematics is knowledge culture. I wanted to build upon it right now. I'm sitting up in the sun, getting the hundreds of vitamins because the sun is a very powerful thing, right? Because today's mathematics borns power, but this ain't even to build upon the sun. But the sun has a very great attractive power within the universe, but with it allows the earth to operate in which the way she does. The sun that evaporates all the water upon the earth, which is stored up in the atmosphere, up in the clouds and stuff. Then once the clouds get all filled up with rain, then they release them back upon the earth, and then that large amount of water allows all the seeds to germinate upon the earth, and then the great attracting power of the sun and the hundreds and thousands of vitamins which are exclusive to the sun nourish the soil and pull up all the plants from it. So without the sun, you couldn't even eat no food. But just being within the sun activates your melanin and it increases your melanin. It gives you hundreds and thousands of vitamins which are exclusive only to the sun. It helps with your mood, helps with all sorts of things within your body, but it also increases your love, which is a high elevation of understanding. Increases all the many things, but when you sit within the sun gaze, just and take that for a couple hours, it's a very good thing for you. But now, I want to build upon today's math. Today's uh, what's it called? 1 through 14s. Number one, why isn't the devil settled on the best part of the planet Earth? The answer because the earth belongs to the original black man. And knowing that the devil was wicked and there would not be any peace among them, he put him on the worst part of earth and kept the best part preserved for himself. But since he made it, the best part is Arabia at the city of Mecca. The color man or Caucasian is the devil. Arabia is in the far east and is bordered by the Indian Ocean on the south. Before. Why do we run Yaqub and this great the devil from the root of civilization over the high desert into the cave of West Asia as they now call it Europe? What is the meaning of EU and rope? How long ago? What did the devil bring with him? What kind of life did he live? And how long before Musa came to teach the devil of the forgotten tricknology? The answer because they started making trouble among the righteous people telling lies. They accused the righteous people, causing them to fight and kill one another. Yaqub was an original black man and was a father of the devil. He taught the devils to do devilishment, the root of civilization is in Arabia at the holy city Mecca, which means with wisdom and knowledge of the original main first started when the planet was found. We ran the devils over the Arabian desert. We took from them everything, except the language and made them walk every step of the way. It was 2,200 miles. He went savage and lived in the caves of Europe. You means hillsides and rope is a rope abandoned. It was 6,019 years ago. Musa came 2,000 years later in time how to live with respect for life, how to build a home for himself, and some of the technology they Yakub taught which was devilishment, telling lies, stealing, how to master the original main. Musa was a half original and a prophet was predicted by 23 scientists in the year of 15,019 years ago today, right? So that's today's student enrollment. And when dealing with today's math, that's knowledge culture. How I see it is to know your culture and applying that to this. Or if you break down the two lessons, it asks you, why isn't the devil settled on the best part of planet Earth? And then when you look at that answer, the answer is telling you because we knew that he was wicked and it wouldn't be any peace among them. And just breaking down that degree, if you know, or my understanding of that degree, if you know something that's going to arise conflict, create tension, and disrupt the peace around you, you should not keep that within your vicinity, right? You should push that from away from you. You should not keep that. Even if you're advocating a righteous cause, if you're constantly in a state of war or in a state of conflict, you're never going to get any peace or any rest. So in order for you to peacefully exist, you've got to remove that from the area of which you exist. Don't keep that around you, right? The original black man knew that if he kept a color man around him in the root of civilization, if he wouldn't have kept it preserved, he kept it around him, he may have very well been destroyed, as Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, right? So just as he knew that he couldn't keep them around them and live in peace, and even if he wasn't destroyed, he'd be constantly in a state of war. And that root of civilization, which is considered the best part, right? What happens after a place, after war happens? It turns into ruins. It becomes what they call war torn and stuff. So then it wouldn't be the best part no more, right? So that's why it had to be preserved. But it also follows up and advances that answer and adds on to it when you deal with the culture degree, right? Number 4. Why do we run Yakub and then grab the devil from the root of civilization, right? And it breaks down how the color man was coming amongst them and telling lies against the righteous people and causing the righteous people to kill one another, right? So that teaches you don't allow any person Don't allow the color main, and that includes any person, place, or thing, or institution, other color main to come amongst you original people, us original people, one another, and allow us to become disagreeable with each other, right? That's all he wants to do. It's just a thing like we're all light skinned and dark skinned. It's like during slavery, right? They give some of the lightest slaves little snacks and shit. Where they ain't nothing. He's still a slave, but he gave them little snacks, trying to make the other slaves jealous of him. And then some of the high yellow motherfuckers, the uppity ass niggas, they would take that to their head, right? And they would think that they're better than someone because they're light skinned. So they would go and try to show out for the slave master, try to go and, dog all the other slaves. So then the light skinned slaves who was getting little itty bitty snacks and stuff, right? And really wasn't like that. The slave master knew that the other slaves wouldn't like him because they would think he was one of the ones that he was able to trick, right? And that just shows how he was able to come amongst us and tell lies against that. That's also dealing with the equality degree. Number 6, why does the devil call our people Africans? I ain't gonna quote I can quote the whole degree, but I ain't gonna quote it. And at the end of that degree, it says he wants us to think that we are all different, right? Trying to cause disunity and stuff. But going back to my original point, don't allow him to come amongst us and to cause us, righteous people, to become disagreeable, live with one another. He's gonna tell lies against us, trying to get us to fight and kill one another, right? So we must not allow that stuff. But dealing with that, we knew not to keep him around us because he was doing what? Telling lies and causing us to kill one another. So we had to run him out. So it's showing cause and effect, right? He came amongst us. We realize his culture because this is the know your culture or the know culture. Not know your culture, but the know culture. Not only your culture, culture of those around you, and the culture of any person, place, or thing, right? So we knew the culture would have destroyed us, his culture of devilishment. So we had to run that from among us, right? And dealing with that, right? It says we ran Yakub and his grad the devil from the root of civilization, right? And by the time the devil was created, Yakub was been dead, right? He wasn't alive. So that shows you that Yakub didn't make the devil. He died before devil, but his teachings were still carried out. And his teachings was able to born devil or graft devil, right? So when you dealing with something, you have to know culture, right? Not only your own culture, you have to know the culture of what's around you. Because what is knowledge culture born? Knowledge culture born power, right? Power is a manifest of truth. Thus place yourself into a state of awareness as righteousness, as clean yourself of all your devilish negativity. Refinement is clothing. When a person is refined, he's divine, has a power to destroy devilishment, right? And when you're dealing with that, what's clothing? Clothing is to clothe you from unawareness. So that high level awareness as righteousness, you must surround yourself with that, right? So your cipher must be made up of that high level of awareness. So anything that comes in contact with you, it instantly gets deciphered and you see it for what it actually is. And you're able to, no bullshit's finna get past you. You're able to actually spot that shit out, right? And that's dealing with knowing culture. Because when you're bringing something through a process of knowledge to born, right, when you get to the culture degree, not only you have to see how far it's in line with your own culture, you have to see how it affects the people around you, right? How it would affect, how does that have on their culture, right? Because you're not only making your decision, is your decision gonna go and affect other people? Are you gonna rope other people into your decision, right? That you have to think about that, but also have to think about the culture of what you're born in, right? And devil was being born, so we had to understand the culture. Because if we didn't know the no culture, right, or know the culture of the devil, then we would have been destroyed if we would allow them to stay in the east for that certain part of time. So we had to remove them and time away. But also dealing with that mindset, how I told you, how they tried to pin us against one another during slavery and how they come and tell lies against us, right? Dealing with Yakub and his grad the devil, that mindset of Yakub, that mind state, that state of mind, and them teachings of Yakub was able to carry out and born devil. So dealing with that, these degrees teaches you knowledge, culture, or the why do we run Yakub out of root of civilization, and why is the devil settled on the best part of planet Earth, right? Both of those, that all shows you to keep that high level of awareness as righteousness. But as I said, when we're dealing with knowledge culture, we have to know culture. And not only just your culture of things around you and the culture of the people in your cipher, right? So you must know these things. So you have to when dealing with that high state of awareness and you always studying things, you have to be in a constant state of refinement and be constantly self-reflecting. You have to have that self-reflection, right? Because if 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 mind state was able to keep us enslaved and have us enslaved to this day, almost 400, almost 500 years later after the physical bondage, right? And if mind state was able to graft the devil, right? Mind state's a powerful thing. So you got to realize, right? Because knowledge, that right, that's your brain. That's you can't move your hand without thinking it, without your brain being able to do that. So dealing with that, you have to be very self-reflective, right? Be in a constant state of refinement because you have to be able to recognize whenever, because we was born doing these things. We was born with this shit instilled within us, and just because just as soon as you become a 5%, it don't mean all that shit from this world has left me. I'm no longer that this. Nah, it knowledge itself is a lifelong journey, right? So you're always refining yourself. You're never going to have everything and be squared away 110. So you always have to keep on doing it. Have that high level of awareness because sometimes these thinkings may still be within our mind, but we don't realize. But as soon as we recognize them, which is why we must be in a constant state of refinement and always be self-reflective, we got to be able to see these things. So if any of the Yakub teachings appear, kill the dark, say the brown, or self-hatred for among black folks, right? Any of these devilish teachings or teachings which came from the lies told from the colored man making us trying to kill one another. We got to be able to recognize that shit. So anytime we have to realize and study our own mind, be in that constant refinement. So if that shit comes up, we got to run it from the root of our civilization, right? Which is our mind. Knowledge and wisdom is stored within our mind. We have to run it from the root of your civilization, right? Which is your mind. Whenever that's the godson, that's the head son of your body, your mind. That's the root of your mind, your body, right? So you have to run that and leave that shit bound in the caves of West Asia, right? So run that shit out of your mind if that shit ever arises, which is why we always must be very self-reflective, just as we must study what's around us, know your environment, right? In more ways than one. Know the social environment in which you stay. Know the place you in. Am I in a dangerous place? Is there a lot of people here that's gonna shoot me down or whatever? Is there a lot of gangs around? Just as you must do that, you must see your own thinkings, right? What the fuck? Goddamn being out here. But yeah, man, you have to study all them things that surround you. Always study your environment, but also be very self-reflective. Now don't stop looking around, but don't always be looking around. Always be looking within your own goddamn self, right? But yeah, that's dealing with some of that, and that's a little bit. I only got 1 more minute of recording left, so yeah, I just wanted to build upon that a little bit, show you how I see that degree, and yeah, I could have built a little bit more, but I don't got that. I only got a little minute left. But yeah, just take what I've said, try to apply it to your life as best you can, and always be in a constant state of refinement and be very self-reflective, right? Because I don't care how long you've had knowledge of self, right? Those things still may exist within you, and you always improving upon your own self. So always be very aware of your surroundings and your mental surroundings. And if you notice any of them devilish men, these things, institutions from this civilization, because just because I said don't allow white folks to come amongst us and tell lies and cause us to go and fight and kill one another, it's not always going to be the physical white man. It may be an institution of them, and it may even be a mindset. So as soon as you recognize them, you must do what, right? Because culture is to actually do something, live that shit out, or push that from amongst you. So it's about to and so peace.